make it to derivatives and antiderivatives, that's the stuff you need for 230. All right, I am recording, and let's go to the handy dandy homework. Nobody, Miss Krieger, you're the only horse or horsey person, and I figured somebody else would have commented, but I guess not. Thought I had more horse or horsey people. All right, 1.217/3. 1.217/3. Is this a test question? Oh, yeah, it's a test question. You're not going to get very many of these, but it is a test question. Okay, you don't have to do algebra here because it's a plug and chug. How do you know it's a plug and chug? My sister-in-law is a horsey person. Oh, she's one of those horsey people, Miss? Okay, Hunter can be male or female, and I can't see her.
Oh, yeah, I'm a guy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunter. So does she put air conditioning in her stalls and heaters in her stalls?
Oh, yeah, it's bad. And I actually seen her last night, and all she did was complain about the feed she got. And
that's why I don't. And then they wonder why people won't sell them hay.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's her dad actually bales hay and everything. She won't get it from him because it's not the right type that she wants.
Well, and they wonder why they can't get somebody to sell them hay. I'm going to go over this question anyway, Miss Babineau. We went over this question already? Okay. All right, I'm sorry. Well, then I'll just erase those two questions. I thought I tried to erase them. Did we go over this one too? I try to delete them as I go. Did we go over this one? Okay. All right. Well, I'll delete those two since I already went over them. I usually don't delete them unless I do go over them. All right. 1.417/6. Did we go over this one?
Yeah, we went over those types of problems.
All right, well, I'll keep going until I usually delete them. I don't know why I don't delete them. 1.448/7. I don't remember this one. We'll just start from there. Okay. So this one says g of x is equal to, and this is a test question, even though it's a basic test question. It is a test question. Oh, did I X out of this? Okay, go ahead and write it down. G of x is equal to the square root of, I'm trying to get there, hold on. There we go. The square root of 7x. And what did I tell y'all to do when you have a radical or a negative exponent? What's the first thing to do? Starts with an R.
Rewrite.
Rewrite it. So I'm going to rewrite it as 7x to the what? 1/2 power. Now, you don't have to put it in parentheses. I just did just to show you that I took this out. You don't have to put it in parentheses because I don't want you to confuse it with chain rule. All right. So 1/2 goes out front times 7x to the 1/2 minus 1. And that's g prime of x. And g prime of x is equal to 7/2 x to the 1/2 minus 2/2. And g prime of x is equal to 7/2 x to the what? What's 1 minus 2? -1/2. Now there's several different ways you can write this answer, and I'm going to show you all the different ways, but I'm not going to do it every single problem, okay? I'm going to show you the 3 different ways you could write this problem. That's one way, which is not, you know, some people, some cultures don't mind the negative 1/2. I'll never forget when I was at Clemson, I had a teacher for one of my math science courses, and she was from China. And besides telling us that Americans was worthless, and me and her got in an argument that Americans are not worthless, she said that negative exponents in China is no big deal. And she said, but here in America, because, you know, she said some derogatory things, we have to make it positive. And that is true. In some cultures, they do not care if it's negative. All right. So when you have a teacher from another country, be sure you stand up for your country. Because I did. We got in fuss 2 or 3 times. She barely passed me, but that was because she hated me. All right. So that would be 7. You could rewrite it like this. I'm gonna use this as a dash answer because some people don't mind the negative exponent. But first thing I would do is write 7 over x, 2x to the 1/2. That's a possible answer. Okay, and the x is what's to the 1/2. Okay, and or you could write 7 over 2 square root of x, or you could rationalize the denominator and get 7 square root of x over x, 2x. And that is several different answers right there. Okay, so I want you to write this problem down. And the reason I want you to write all 3 answers is so you can see that this one can be written 3 different ways, actually 4 different ways. Okay. And I'm sorry for arguing for that, arguing with that teacher, but at that time I wasn't a veteran terrorist. I was just a Southern farm boy terrorist. So I graduated. I got more and improved. Any questions on that? God, y'all on medication or something this morning? Y'all ain't even saying anything. Y'all just let that terrorist question, you just let it go by. I mean, okay.
Sorry, Mr. Hubert. Honestly, I just joined. Do you mind showing me that again, just so I can get down?
Want me to put this back up again?
Yeah, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Honestly.
All right, let me make it bigger. I'll give you a few seconds. Looks like plankton.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right. So let's see what they want. I think I would type it in as 7 over 2 square root of x. That's what I would type it in as. Let's try the third one. Let's try 7 square root of x over 2x. Okay. Let's try 7 over 2 square root of x. 7, oh well, 7 over 2 square root of x. Oh my Lord. Hold on a second. There. Okay, I have no idea what they want, so I'm just going to hit final check. What? Hold on a second. Make sure I'm. They got a 7 under there. How did they do that? Did they use the chain rule? 1/2. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. They must have used the chain rule. What section is this? No, they didn't use the chain rules. Chain rule is 1.7. Hold on. Let me redo the problem and make sure I didn't make a mistake. Hold on. I don't. Let me do this over. Square root of 7x raised to the 1/2 or equals 7x raised to the 1/2 power. 1/2 times 7x to the negative 1/2. Oh, I see what I did now. This whole thing is raised. Okay, I see what I did. All right, so that would be the 7x, the whole 7x is raised to the 1/2. So that would be 7x to the negative 1/2 over 2. Okay, so I'm sorry, erase that first one. I'm sorry. I should have left the parentheses on there and not taken them out of the parentheses. And this can be written as the square root. Bring it down, and that would be 1 over 2 square root of 7x. Is that what they got? And you could multiply by 7x, square root of 7x, square root of 7x, and that would give you the square root of 7x over 14x. That's one way to write it. I don't know. This is an easy problem. I don't know why I'm making it more difficult. They got a 7. I'm missing something here. I'm sorry, but I'm missing something. They're using the. I should get the same answer. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not getting the same answer, and that's bothering me. Anybody got anything they want to add to it? Because I'm confused. 7x to the 1/2 power, or I'm sorry, the square 7x to the 1/2 power. I'm going to use the chain rule. 1/2 7x to the negative 1/2 times 7. I think what's wrong is, I think since they're using the difference quotient, I think the chain rule will give us the correct answer. Hold on, let me see. 7 over 2, 7x to the negative 1/2, 7 over 2 square root of 7x. Is that the answer? Y'all ain't gonna say anything, so 7 over 2 square root of 7x. That's what it is. I should have just done it. I should have just done it by the chain rule. That's my fault. And if you want to do it by the difference quotient, I'll do it by the difference quotient also. So the difference quotient is the square root of 7x, 7 parentheses, minus the square root of 7x over h. And you put your x plus h right here, and that's going to be the square root of 7 times x plus h minus the square root of 7x over h. And that's going to be the square root of 7x plus 7h minus square root of 7x over h. And the square root of 7x plus the square root of 7h. It's supposed to be an h right there. We're going to have to, good gracious, we're going to have to conjugate the numerator. Yuck. And that's going to be the square root. We're going to have to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 7x plus 7h plus the square root of 7x over, I'm trying to get this in, the square root of 7x plus 7h plus the square root of 7x. And that will get rid of the radicals up top, and that's going to give you 7x plus 7h minus 7x over h times the square root of 7x plus 7h plus 7x. Phew! That's why you had to do the chain rule, because this is a more complicated problem. 7x cancels, the h cancels, and you're left with 7 over square root of 7x plus 7h plus 7x. Is that supposed to be the square root of 7x? It is. Y'all with me?
Yes,
And
sir.
then limit as h approaches 0. What's that going to take out? 7 over the square root of 7x plus 7h plus the square root of 7x. Oops, that don't belong there. That's going to take that one out, that h term. And you're left with, that's not supposed to be there. You're left with 7 over square root of 7x plus the square root of 7x, which should be 1 and 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 7 over 2 square root of 7x. I'll tell you what happened here. What happened here is I didn't look at the section of homework this came from. I should have. I just went off half cocked. The reason you have to use the chain rule here is because you have two things being raised to a power. If this was just x to the 1/2 power, you would just use the power rule. But since you got a square root of 7 under the radical, that 7 is in the 1/2. That's why. And you get the same answer by the chain rule or by the difference quotient. That's a yucky problem. I would not give you that problem with the difference quotient. I would give you that problem with the chain rule. All right, let's move on to another problem. That one's yucky. I see why you sent that problem. Okay, that was Mr. Melnick. Anthony, I hope I didn't confuse you too much. Sorry about that.
I think I got it, sir.
Okay, 1.4, 50/15. Okay, this is 1.4, and I don't forgot what 1.4 is. Can somebody tell me, is that? That's still the, let's see if they use the difference quotient here. Yep, they do. So we're going to use the difference quotient. Then I'll show you how to do it by the chain rule, because you can't do this one unless you use the chain rule. So by the difference quotient, we're going to go ahead and write it down. H of x is equal to 3 over the square root of x plus 1. And by the difference quotient, I'm going to put a set of brackets here. minus 3 over the square root of x plus 1 all over h. And that's going to be 3 over the square root of parentheses plus 1. And I'm going to plug in my x plus h. And that's going to give me 3 over the square root of x plus h plus 1 minus the square root, or 3 over the square root of x plus 1 over h over 1. Well, there's only one thing you can do here, and that is get rid of the rational by multiplying through by the square root of x plus h plus 1 times x plus 1 over 1 multiplied by the square root of x plus h plus 1 times the square root of x plus 1 over 1. I'm multiplying through by the common denominator. And that's going to give you, this is going to cancel out and leave you with 3 times the square root of x plus 1 minus, that's going to cancel here, and that's going to give you 3 times the square root of x plus h plus 1 over h times the square root of x plus h plus 1 times the square root of x plus 1. Now we're going to multiply by the conjugate. Good gracious, what a mess. I think this is a little bit overboard. 3 square root of x plus 1 minus 3 square root of x plus h plus 1 over h times the square root of x plus h plus 1 times the square root of x plus 1. And now I'm going to multiply. This is going to be a cluster. I'm going to multiply now by 3 square root of x plus 1 plus 3 square root of x plus h plus 1 over 3 square root of x plus 1 plus 3 square root of x plus h plus 1. And that's going to basically get rid of the radicals up here. So that's going to give you, I'm going to have to write this out because it's going to be a mess. That's going to give you 3 a plus b times a minus b is equal to a squared. So that's going to be 3 square root of x plus 1 squared minus 3 square root of x plus h plus 1 squared. A plus b times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared, the difference of two squares, over h times the square root of x plus h plus 1. I feel like this is just too much. Square root of x plus 1 times 3 square root of x plus 1 plus 3 square root of x plus h plus 1. I just get this feeling, I don't know, I just get this feeling that this is just too much. I feel like I've taken a wrong turn somewhere. And the top will give us 3, give us 9 times x plus 1 minus 9 times x plus h plus 1. And that's going to give us 9x minus 9 minus 9x minus 9h minus, see, that's supposed to cancel out. Something's wrong because they're not canceling. Those 9s are supposed to cancel. And I think I've done something wrong.
Be a positive 9?
I'm sorry, what?
Shouldn't that be a positive 9? 9x plus 9?
No, that negative 9 times that positive 1 give you a negative 9. Oh, thank you. Okay, good. They do cancel, so that means we are heading the right direction. But that bottom, whew, that bottom is going to be a mess. 9x, 9x, 9, and 9. Well, that leaves us with negative 9h, which makes me feel a little bit better, over this cluster. Now, I do realize that if I distribute this with this, there's going to be some canceling. I do realize that. And that h, I can go ahead and cancel it with that h. So I can go ahead and get rid of that h. That h right there will cancel with this h. So that'll leave negative 9 on top. I'm going to go to the next page. So negative 9 over, whew, I'm going to go ahead and distribute this with these two. I have no idea what it's going to look like. So let's go with the square root 3 times the square root of x plus 1 times the square root of x plus h plus 1 times the square root of x plus 1 plus 3 times the square root of x plus h plus 1. Wait a minute. 3. I'm getting confused here. Yeah. 3x plus 1. No, wait a minute. That should be, this should be x plus h plus 1. 3 times x plus 1. No, that's right. X plus 8, x plus 1. X plus 1. I'm getting a little bit confused here. 3 times x plus 1 times blah, 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 plus 3 times x plus h plus 1 times square root of x plus h plus 1 times the square root of x plus 1. And if you, when you distribute this right here, you're going to get 3 times the square root of x plus 1 quantity squared times the square root of x plus h plus 1 plus 3 times the square root of x plus h plus 1 raised to the second power times the square root of x plus 1. And of course, this goes out. So that square will take that out. And that'll be 3 times x plus 1 times the square root of x plus h plus 1 plus 3 times x plus h plus 1 times square root of x plus 1. Phew! 3x plus 3 times the square root of x plus h plus 1 plus 3x plus 3h plus 3 times the square root of x plus 1 and that's not going to help us at all. I think I've made a wrong turn somewhere. 3x plus 3 times the square root of x plus h plus 1. Let's go ahead and plug in our h. Let's go ahead and do that. Plus 3x plus 3h plus 3 times the square root of x plus 1. And h goes to 0. That's going to take this out. And it's going to take this out. Okay, we may have life in us yet. And that's going to give us 3x. Let me rewrite it. That's going to give us -9 over 3x plus 3 times the square root of x plus 1. I don't believe this. Plus 3x plus 3 times the square root of x plus 1. My goodness. And 3x plus 3x is what? 6x. You just add these two together because you got a common what? Common term. So 3x plus 3x is 6x plus 6 square root of x plus 1 over -9, -3 over 3x plus 3 square root of x plus 1. No, that's not right. 2. Now, we're going to check it with the chain rule, and I have no idea what the answer is. So I'm going to go back to the original equation, and we're going to do it by the chain rule. And then we're going to compare the answers. H of x is equal to 3 over the square root of x plus 1. Okay, that's going to be h of x is equal to 3x plus 1 to the -1/2 power. Y'all check me, I think that's right. That'll be to the 1/2, and then you bring it up to be -1/2. Chain rule be -1/2 times 3 times x plus 1 to the -1/2 minus 2/2. And what is the derivative of x? 1. And that's going to be -3/2. I don't think we got the right answer. X plus 1/2 plus 1 to the -3/2. And that's going to be -3. Okay, I think we do have the same answer. -3 over 2 times x plus 1 to the 3/2. I think we almost have that. I think we can, I know what they're doing. We got the -3. We got the 2, factor out that 2. You could factor out that 2, but we're not getting, I know what they're doing. Yes, you can, well, this is the answer. We're heading that way. -3 over 2 times x plus the square root of x plus 1. And they're changing these denominators. That's what they're doing. This is x to the first, and this is x to the 1/2, and this can be written as 2/2. Okay, they're moving on. This is the same as this. Now, I don't know who sent this question, but this one is a mess. Okay, yeah, I would not give you this question. I mean, that is way. Do y'all see where somebody could get confused on this one? I mean, that's a lot of stuff. Mr. Melnick, did you send this one?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, did that help you with showing you the algebra?
I mean, yeah, I did. I'm just like taking notes, and I'm gonna look over it after
You
class.
probably got in the middle of it and you probably quit, didn't you?
Yep, pretty much.
But you see how to do it with the chain rule?
Yeah, it's a lot simpler.
Yeah, it's a whole lot simpler. There's about 3 more steps here. There's about 3 more steps to get from here to there. But y'all see the -3 and the 2, don't you? The -3 over 2. There it is right there, -3 over 2. That's rough. When I give you a difference quotient on the test, it's not going to be like that one. You're welcome. Let's see if my chain rule is correct. Let's see, where did I get the chain rule? Let's go with -3 over 2 parentheses x plus 1 close parentheses shift up the 3/2 power. And that's it. Now, on the test, when you run into one like this, I would just do the chain rule. Okay? All right, 1.4, 55/17. I'd like to hurry up and get to the derivative homework, but we don't have a choice. Consider the function given by absolute value of, okay, we're going to look at the graph before we do anything, because we can't tell Jack until we, So here's the graph. And absolute value, absolute vodka. So that means it's going to look like a V with a horizontal shift of 4 to the right and 2 up. So here is my function. And all of these points are differentiable right here. You're decreasing. And all of these points are differentiable because they're positive and they're numbers. Where is the only point that is not differentiable? At the what? At the vertex, because what is the slope at the vertex? I told y'all this when we first started with this chapter. What is the slope at the vertex? Yes, Miss Holcomb. I don't know why y'all have to chat everything. Why can't y'all just talk? All right. M is equal to 0. So I would probably say at x is equal to what? 4? It's not differentiable. What does differentiable mean? Well, you can't take the derivative. The derivative does not help us at x is equal to 4 because that is where the slope is equal to what? 0. G prime of 0. G prime of 0. Well, the derivative of x is 1. So if you plug in, I don't understand what they're asking there, because if you take the derivative of a, you get 1, because that's a x to the first power, that's 1. So it should be 1. but I know that's not right. I don't know what they're asking. Oh, I know what they're asking for. I know. What is the slope at x is equal to 0? That's what they're asking for. Here's the slope right here. X is equal to 0. Well, what is the slope? 1 over 1. So you're going 1 down, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over. How do I know that? Because the slope, or g of x, is equal to absolute value of x. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all can't see this. Okay. X minus 4 plus 2. That's your horizontal shift. This is your vertical shift. And this, that 1 that's in front of that x, means 1 over 1 is equal to the slope. Okay, so that's where I get the 1 over 1, 1 over 1, 1 over 1. And on this side, it's negative slope. And on this side is positive slope. And the reason that is because on this side, what kind of line do you have on this side? Well, let's pick a point. Let's pick 0, or let's pick what is the y-intercept? 0 minus 4 is what? Negative 4. The absolute value of negative 4 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. So this point right here is 0, 6. The slope is 1 over 1. So 0, 6 with a slope of 1. This is x sub 1. This is y sub 1. Y minus 6 is equal to 1 times x minus 0. And that should come out with a oh, this is a negative slope. Sorry, negative 1, because it's a negative slope. And that's going to be y minus 1 is equal to negative 1x plus 6. So y is equal to negative x plus 6. So on this side right here, your equation for this side is negative 1 plus 6. Negative 1x plus 6. And on this side, we'll just pick a point. Let's say this is 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll just pick 8. Let's pick 8. So we're going to use 8. So that's going to be 8 minus 4 is what? 4. 4 plus 2. So 8 and 6. 8, 6. And the slope is positive 1. M is equal to positive 1 on this side. So 8, 6. M is equal to positive 1. And that's going to be y minus 6 is equal to 1 times x minus 8. Y minus 6 is equal to x minus 8. Bring the 6 across, that becomes a plus 6. So y is equal to positive x, 1x, plus minus 2. And that is the line going this way. Now, I'm really not sure what they're asking. They're asking for the equation for the line at 0. The equation for the slope at x is equal to 0 would be 0 plus 6 be a negative 0 plus 6. I don't understand what they're asking. Let's see what they're asking. And the reason I don't understand exactly what they're asking here I would say -1, which is the slope. I could have asked it a whole lot easier. They could have just said, what is the slope at x is equal to 0? All right, what is the slope at 1? It should be -1. Oh, yeah, -1. Okay. Oh, this is not a test question. At 5, well, let's go to 5. Somebody tell me what the slope is at 5. +1. Why can't they just ask that? Why do they have to confuse you? +1. That's why people can't do math, because the dadgum people ask stupid questions. +1. Okay, do you understand that? You don't have to do anything but draw the dadgum curve. There it is right there. And what they're asking right here, and you need to write that down, not that one. You need to write this down in your notes. This question, just erase that g of 0 and that g prime of 1 and g prime of 5 and g. They're asking, what is the slope at 0? What is the slope at 1? What is the slope at 5? And what is the slope at 10? And use your dadgum picture to show you what the slope is. Does that make sense? I guess
Yes,
not.
it makes sense.
Thank you. I appreciate the one person interacting with me. Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm mad at the question. That's a stupid question. Not stupid that you sent it. Who sent that one? Miss Holcomb, were you confused about what they were asking? Or was that Miss Adeline? I'm sorry. Yeah, Miss Holcomb. Very. Okay. All right. Well, just do what okay, 1.4. This is the last one, I hope, out of 1.4. Oh, 1.4 is a bear. Okay, piecewise function. So I'm going to draw. I think we did this problem, but somebody tell me if we didn't. I think we did. Draw your graph. Mx plus b is a form of a line, and you only are able to use numbers to the left of 1. So here's 1, and the line y is equal to mx plus b is a straight line. So I can draw a line here and or I could draw a line here. All these lines that you draw here and here and here looks like y is equal to mx plus b. You do not touch 1, so it gets a open circle. Now you don't have to draw where I drew it. Okay, you can draw it through the origin. If you drew it through the origin, it would look something like this. If you drew it up here, it looks something like that. Those are all representative of y is equal to mx plus b. Now they do give you 4x squared. Now let's see, what does 4x squared look like? Let's go back to our family of graphs. 4x squared, we know x squared looks like this. 4x squared is skinnier, so it looks something like that. So, but we are only able to use numbers that are equal to, so that means we got an open circle. So let's do 1 and 4. Let's draw this one. I'm going to use pink to draw this one, okay? So 4x squared, f of x is equal to 4x squared. And I'm just going to do 5 points. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, -2 is 4, that'll be 16. -1 is 1, that'll be a 4, 0, 4, 16. So 0, 0, and 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. and -1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that line looks like this, but we can't use any of this because we can only use from 1, and that's a closed circle. And I'll draw this in red. We can use this. Okay, now this means you can use 1. This means you cannot use 1. Now, I have no idea what this question is asking, but I had to draw this because we have to see what they're actually asking. Now, no matter where you put this, and I would make sure you put the y is equal to mx below this, because if you draw this one, you might be a little bit confused. But I don't know what they're asking. It says, determine the values of m and b that make f differentiable at x is equal to 1. Well, x is equal to 1 is right here, but you cannot use 1 here, but you can use it here. So I would say that the values are differentiable for 4x squared, but I don't know exactly what they're asking. Let's see what they're asking. Oh, they want you to plug. Okay, I forgot. This is difference quotient. I think, did we not do this problem? I swear I believe we did this problem. Parentheses m times parentheses plus b.
Is this a test question, Hubert?
No. Minus.
Okay, good.
Somebody tell me, look in your notes and see if we went over this problem.
We did.
Okay, I thought we did. Well, I'm going to start it off, but we're going to move on because I've already went over it. And that's how you start that one off. And then the bottom one is going to be 4 parentheses squared minus 4x squared over h. And you need to work these problems out. Okay? Plug x plus h right here. And x plus h right here. And I'll go ahead and do the next step for you.
Can you move it down a little bit?
I'm sorry, what? Oh,
Can you move it down a little bit?
Sorry. There we go. Y'all have to remind me. Thank you for interacting, Miss Ladowit. Thank you. It's
You're
very
welcome.
nice when you know, nothing. MH plus B minus MX minus B over H, and down here 4 times x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 4x squared over h. And go ahead and make sure you do limit as h approaches 0, limit as h approaches 0, and I think you'll see that this one is more differentiable than this one. But go ahead and do the actual. I can already see that the mx cancels right here. The mx cancels and the b's cancel. And that h cancels with this h. So what is the limit as x approaches 0 of all this? It's basically m. And this is going to cancel. I'm going to skip a step or two here. That's going to cancel with that. And this is going to cancel with that and leave a h right there. So your answer here is going to be 2x plus h, right? Limit as h approaches 0. That'll take that out. And that'll be 2x. So that's basically what they're wanting there. No, this is not a test question. All right, I'm gonna move on. I want to get to some questions that we can actually, do on tests. Now, and I'm not trying to say that yours is not important, but we need to get to the questions on the test, which is 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, and 1.8. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that one. Mr. Melnick, I hope that helps, but I'm not trying to skip you. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's fine.
Okay, 1.5, 29/13. Find the derivative. Now, I'm not going to write it like that. I'm going to write it like this. F of x is equal to square root or 6th root of x minus 9 over x. Okay? So that's the problem. And yes, this is a test question. F of x is equal to, what are we going to do with both of these?
Rewrite them.
Huh?
Rewrite.
Rewrite both. Rewrite both. So that's going to be x to the 1/6 minus 9x to the what? -1, Hubert. And now we're going to take f prime of x. We're going to use the power rule with each. So 1/6 times 1 x 1/6 minus 1. Now I'm writing it out because I want you to remember there's a 1 right here. Okay, over here we're going to do minus parentheses -1 times 9 x to the -1 minus 1. Okay, now those are the power rules. That is what you do when you do the power rule on a term. All right, so f prime of x is equal to 1/6 times 1 is 1/6. X to the 1/6 minus 6/6. And I'm putting a baby step in here for those that need it. Why did I put parentheses on this part? Somebody tell me why I put parentheses on this part.
Because of the negative?
Because of this negative right here. That's exactly why. So I'm going to take my handy dandy pink highlighter. And since this negative is so important, that's why I put these parentheses. Now, I know that 2 or 3 of y'all are going to do this, and about the rest of y'all aren't because y'all don't need parentheses. But those of you that want to make sure you don't screw it up on the test, put the parentheses. F prime of x is equal to 1/6 x. What's 1/6 minus 6/6? -5/6. Plus 9x to the -2. Now I'm going to put this in a circle right there because that could be answer in some cases, but not in my case. I'm going to rewrite it because I want positive exponents. Okay. F prime of x is equal to, and that's 6. Technically, that x to the 5/6 is with this 1. So I'm going to bring it down, and that'll be 1 over 6x to the 5/6 plus 9 over x squared. Now, chances are that may be what they want as an answer. Okay? But, this is exponent over index. So that would be the 6th root. So you could maybe write that. I don't know if they want that or not. 6 times the 6th root of x to the 5th plus 9 over x squared. And then you could rationalize this denominator and get the 6th root, or the 6th root of x over 6x and plus 9 over x squared. I'm thinking, are they going to carry it further than that? But there's 3 possible answers. Let's see which one they want. And I'm not worried about this one because this is a derivative. They're not asking any wonky questions, Philadelphia lawyer questions. They just want the derivative. So we should get this one. I'm just going to type in 3 and let them answer it. All right, let's see which one they did. Looks like they did the first one, didn't they? Yeah, they did the first one. Right here, x to the negative 5, 6 over 6 plus 9x to the negative 2. So you need to highlight this one because that's as far as they want you to take it. Everybody see that? Somebody give me a yes, please, for those people that don't interact.
See it.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm gonna start doing like these other teachers. I'm gonna start making y'all mandatory video. If you don't video, you don't get attendance. What do y'all think?
Not this early in the morning, Hubert.
Now I'm up and I have my makeup on and I've got rid of my bed head. Why can't y'all do that? What are y'all gonna do when it comes time that y'all need to work at 8 o'clock every morning or 9 o'clock? What are y'all gonna do? Get fired?
No, we're not going to get fired, hopefully.
No, because you're gonna have a corner office. It's gonna have a sink where they used to put the mops because y'all don't interact with anybody. All right, 1.5, 50/18. There's going to be some of y'all 20 years from now that's going to think of me. I'm going to be dead or in the nursing home slobbering all over myself. Y'all going to be thinking of me when you see that person down at the end of the hall that's right beside the women's or men's room in the closet, and they got a little desk in there, little piece of plywood over the mop sink. And you're going to think of me, and you're going to say, boy, I'm glad Hubert taught me to be interactive. You're going to think of me. All right, here we go. F of x is equal to, this is a test question, minus 3x plus 9. And then after you find the derivative, plug and chug a 2 into the derivative. All right, y'all can do that one. I know y'all can do that one because we've done the power rule enough to where you should be able to do that one. And if you can't do it, then we all know that means what? A closet office. That's what it means. All right. So I'm going to write it out for you. 2 times 2 times x to the 2 minus 1 minus 1 times 3 times x to the 1 minus 1 plus 0 times 9 x to the 0 minus 1. Now what happens Wait a minute. That's not right. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. What happens when you take the derivative of a constant, of a number? Somebody tell me.
0.
You get 0. So y'all need to get used to doing this. Instead of doing this right here, when you got a 9 right here, just mark through it. And that's the reason why. Okay? You need to get used to doing that. When you see a 9 or a 3 or a 1/2 or a pi, any number, you know it's x to the 0 because it's a number. You know that 0 is going to what? It's going to cancel out the whole term when you use the power rule. So, as a general rule, the derivative of a constant, the derivative of a number is equal to 0. Now, I've showed y'all that before, but I'm showing you again. All right, so 4x, 2 times 2 is 4, x to the 1 power, minus 1 times 3 is 3, x to the 0 power, which is 1. So f prime of x is equal to 4x minus what? 3. Plug and chug. F prime of 2 is equal to 4 times parentheses minus 3. Take my handy dandy pink marker. Plug in 2. And that gives us f prime of 2 is equal to 8 minus 3 is 5. And that means back in pre-algebra, x is equal to 2, y is equal to what? 5. And yes, that is a test question. It's a straightforward, what is the derivative? And then after you get the derivative, plug in 2. And that's the answer. Next question. 1.5, 52/19. Oh, I'm going to have to hurry. Okay, y is equal to 1 over x squared. So don't worry about the rest of the question. Y is equal to 1 over x squared. Y is equal to 1 over x squared. Y is equal to x to the negative 2. Y prime is equal, and that's a 1 right here, to negative 2 times 1, x to the negative 2 minus 1. Y prime is equal to negative 2, x to the negative 3. Y prime is equal to negative 2 over x to the 3rd power, or some form of that. And this can be an answer also. But since you're plugging and chugging, plug and chug. Since you're plugging and chugging, I'd probably do this one. And now y prime of, what we got to plug in, 2? Yeah. Plug in y prime of 2 equals negative 2 over parentheses to the 3rd power, negative 2 over 8, which is what? 1/4, Hubert. Thank you, class. Appreciate the interaction. All right, ask me, let me know if you got any questions because I want to move on. Everybody feel good about themselves? Yeah, Hubert.
I put that for the answer, Hubert, and it said it was wrong.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it. Some of these questions are just ridiculous. Well, negative 1/4 should be your answer. I have no idea what they want. What? They're squaring. Well, no, 2 to the third power is 8. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing there. They're doing what I did. See there? They got negative 4x to the negative 5th, and I got negative 2x to the negative 5. I meant negative 3rd. And then you plug negative 2 in, or 2 right there. I disagree with their. Can somebody elaborate with me and tell me if I've done something wrong here? I don't think I've done anything wrong. Let me look at the original equation. Let me make sure I copied it down right. 1 over x to the 6th. Okay, well, I just copied the problem down wrong. I'm sorry. I just did another problem. I suck.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
you're good, though. From your example, I figured out how to do it.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I wrote down the wrong problem.
No, it's okay.
Okay, let's go to another problem. Sorry. Sometimes I do that. That's the medicine I'm on, I guess. All right, let's go back to, well, that was your question. So 1.5 65/23. See, it would help if somebody would have caught that and said something at the beginning of the problem instead of after I finished it. It would have helped, but since nobody's going to interact, that's what happens. All right, not blaming you. I'm just saying an interactive class would have caught that. All right, f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 2x plus 3. Now, I don't really care what this question's asking right now. I'm going to find the derivative because that's what we're doing. And if I ask you on a test, that's what I'm going to ask you to do. So I really don't care what they're asking. I'll get back to their question in a minute. That's going to be 2 times 3x to the 2 minus 1 minus, that's 1 right there. No, hold on. Okay, 1 times 2x to the 1 minus 1 plus 0 times 3x to the 0 minus 1. It really doesn't matter about that because 3 is a constant. So you can either do this or you can do this. I really don't care. That one will go out. So f prime of x is equal to 6x minus what? 2? So
Yeah.
that is your answer. That is the derivative of f of x. Now, they asking about domain. This is an x squared function. So the domain here is all real numbers because you can put, unless it's a radical or a rational, okay, a radical is 1 over square root of x plus 1. A rational would be 1 over x minus 10. Okay, unless it's a radical or a rational function, the domain is going to be all real numbers. So this one, the domain is all real numbers. But I don't know. I just saw the word domain, and I don't know if that's what they're asking for or not. Let's see. Okay. Select the correct below. Okay, the vertex. They want to know the vertex. So 3x squared minus 2x plus blank is equal to -3 plus blank. Now you can do this on your on your, they want to find the vertex, so I'm using completing the square. Or you can just put this in your calculator and find the vertex. Okay, you want to find the vertex because that's where the horizontal line is. I showed you that a while ago. So factor out of 3, x squared minus 2/3 x plus blank is equal to -3 plus 3 times blank. Half of 2/3 divided by 2 multiplied by 1/2 would be 2/6, right? 1/2 multiplied by 1/2, which would be 1/3. 1/3 squared is 1/9. I hope, I don't know, I'm doing that in my head. 3 times x minus 1/3 is equal to 3. That'll be 1/3 right here. This will be -12 or -9/3. -9/3 plus 1/3 is -8/3. So it looks like, if I've done my math right, the vertex is 1/3, 8/3. Now, I don't know if I did that math right, but I meant the algebra, but that's completing the square. Let's see if that's what they're asking for. Yeah. The point at which the tangent line is horizontal, it should be 1/3 and 8/3. 1/3, 8/3. That should be your answer. I don't know if that's the right. Let's see. It says select choice. Okay, this and how do I know that? Because if I drew, because your parent graphs, you know this function has a vertex of 1/3 and 8/3, which is what, 2 and 2/3. 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute, that'd be 1/3 and -8 and +8 8/3 be 2 and 2/3. And we know it's opening up a y-intercept of 3. 1, 2, 3. So it looks like this. And where is the only place on the function that the slope is 0? At the vertex. And that's why they're wanting the vertex, I assume. Okay? See, this is all that stuff we learned back in the review section. I told you you would need it. And completing the square. Okay? And that should be your answer for that one. And yes, that is a test question because that pulls in the review. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to finish these last 3 problems. Everybody is welcome to leave if you got another class. I'm going to keep the recorder on so that way, I can get these last 3. You're welcome to stay if you want to. Okay? All right, the next one is 1.6 3/6. That's a good thing about these virtual classes. I can keep recording and y'all can watch it on the video. Of course, only 1 or 2 of y'all is going to do that. But all right, here is the product rule. Product rule. The product rule says first times derivative second plus second times derivative first. We're going to do the whole thing. I don't know if they want you to do the whole thing, but we are because this is a test question. Not the question literally, but I'm going to ask you to do the product rule, and this question is a good product rule because it's short and sweet. I'm not going to ask you all these Philadelphia lawyer questions, but I'm going to ask you to take the derivative. So that's why I'm going to do it. First times derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. So the first, and this is the second. So first times the derivative of the second, and you know I'm going to use colors. Plus the second times the derivative of the first. Okay. Now, a lot of you say, well, here, you got to use the chain rule here. No, you don't, because the exponent is 1. Okay. And when, okay, Miss Palmer, she did show up. Okay. Thank you, Miss Palmer. And you can stay if you want to. All right. If you need to go, I understand. Okay. That's a 1. 1 doesn't change anything. So that's why you don't have to do the chain rule here. You just get 1 times 2x plus 4 to the 0, because 1 minus 1 is 0, and that's going to take that out to 1, and you're going to be left with 2x. So you're going to get the same thing, excuse me, no matter what. So you can use the chain rule if you want to. X minus 4. Now I'm going to use a green marker because I'm going to take the derivative of that, and I want you to be able to see it. So what's the derivative of 2x? I'm asking y'all, you know. What?
The 0?
No, the derivative of 2x, put the 1 out front. 1 times 2, x to the 0 is 1, 2. Plus the second times the derivative of the first. What's the derivative of 1x? 1.
1.
Oops, that's supposed to be green, sorry. What's the derivative of 4? 0, so that's why you don't have any other term down here. What's the derivative of 4? Negative 4 is 0, so that's why you don't have another term down here. Now you just do what? You're done with calculus. What's left?
Algebra.
Algebra. 2x minus 8, 2 times x, 2 times negative 4, plus 2x plus 4. 2x plus 2x is 4x. Negative 8 plus 4. Negative 8 plus 4 is what? Negative 4. Is that the only way to do this problem? Nope. What else could we do besides doing the calculus first?
Do the algebra first.
We could do the algebra first. And I'm just going to go over here. And I'm just going to do the algebra first over here. X minus 4 times 2x plus 4. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Negative 8x. And negative 16. 2x squared. What's 4x minus 8x? Negative 4x minus 16. And now take the, now take the derivative of each term. What's the derivative of 2x squared? Well, that'll be 2 times 2x to the 2 minus 1. This is a 1. 1 times 4x to the 1 minus 1. And what happens? What's the derivative of a number? 0. And this is 4x minus 4. And you can bet your bottom dollar that will be on the test. This is, and you can do it either way. I really don't care how you do it. Okay. Question, gripe, complaint. Got a hole in my mouth. All right. I'm not going to go through their Philadelphia lawyer questions. You can figure out which one. Y'all can figure that out. I'm not going to worry about that. 1.6, that was that one. 1.7, 11, 11. First of all, is it a test question? Oh, yeah. And you will be using the chain rule and the product rule. You can do algebra first by using shortcut number 2 and shortcut number 2, combining like terms, and then taking the derivative. I'm not going to do that because we don't have time. So y is equal to 5x minus 3 quantity squared times 3 minus x to the 4th quantity squared. So we're going to use the product rule first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. So I'm going to rewrite it so I can put everything, organize everything. Y prime is equal to first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. Prime. Okay, so now we're going to focus on the pink, and we're going to use our chain rule. So y prime is equal to 5x minus 3 squared. And now we're going to do 2, 3 minus x to the 4th, 2 minus 1. And somebody tell me what the derivative, well, you know the derivative is 3 is what? What's the derivative of 3?
0.
So we don't have to worry about that 3. But what's the derivative of x, negative x to the 4th? Negative 4x to the 3rd. Okay, we just used the chain rule there. All right, plus 3 minus x to the 4th. And now we're going to use the chain rule. 2 times 5x minus 3 to the 2 minus 1. And what's the derivative of 5x?
5.
What's the 5? Now you're done with the calculus. Now you just got to do algebra.
One message coming in on secured channel.
So y prime is equal to 5x minus 3, which you're going to use square. That's going to be shortcut number 2. And negative 8x cubed. I'm going to do this in green. Negative 8x cubed times 3 minus x to the 4th to the 1st power. And that's multiplying because this is multiplying. All that's multiplying. Plus 3 minus x to the 4th squared times, what's 2 times 5? 10. 5x minus 3. Now, this, the parentheses drop off because that's just a 1, so you don't have to do anything there. This, the parentheses drop off, but you got to multiply that 10 first. And you can multiply this negative 8 times that to kind of condense it a little. But now it's just algebra. All of it, algebra is really, from here down, it's algebra. That's pretty much it. I'm going to go on to the other homework question because I'm not going to delete this one because Thursday or next Tuesday we may come back to this one. So I'm going to leave this one non-deleted. I'm going to let y'all work on that one. And I'm going to keep that one in there. And this one we'll go over it, get you started on it. This is 1.711/11. It's the same one, isn't it? Yes, same one. Okay, so that gives y'all 2 to work on. Yeah, let's see if it's the same one. Squared, 3x. Okay, there's just one different. It's x to the 3rd instead of x to the 4th. Okay, now I'll tell you what I'll do though. I'll do the algebra first on this one, and you can use that as a guide. Y is equal to 5x minus 3 quantity squared times 3 minus x cubed to the 5th power. And I'm going to do the algebra first, so I'm not going to write it as y prime. I'm just going to write y is equal to 25x squared plus 30, I'm sorry, minus, that's supposed to be a minus, minus 30x plus 9 minus 6x cubed plus x to the 6th. Oh shoot, no, that ain't a square. Ooh, that's to the 5th power. I just saw that. That's going to be a mess. This, okay, that would be x squared times x to the 3rd. No, you don't want to do the algebra here. I just did the square. Now you got to still multiply that by 3 minus x cubed raised to the 3rd power. Yeah, I don't think you want to go this route, because you're talking about taking this to 9. That'll be 9 terms or 6 terms, and then you're going to multiply by that. No, you don't want to do this. So I would suggest using the product rule on that one also. Okay, don't use the algebra. I didn't notice that till I saw it. See, this one was squared and squared, wasn't it? I think it was. And I think that is doable. Okay, let me go back and look at that one. And I think Mr. Melnick sent this one. Let me make sure it was square and square. Yeah, square and square is doable. I don't know who sent this one. Who sent this one? Miss Holcomb. Oh yeah, the great Miss Holcomb's done sent 2 more. Or 3 more. Where did these come from? Somebody done sent 2 more. Mr. Melnick done sent 2 more. Okay.
Oh, that was yesterday.
Well, I just got it.
No,
Okay.
I haven't been on it all day.
Okay. All right. So I think Miss Holcomb sent this one. And this one's got a 5. I would not even try to do algebra with the 5th power. Okay. So maybe that helps you get started on those 2. Let's look at this one right quick and see if it's a simple one or if it's a more complicated one. This is number 15. This one is quotient rule. I'll start you off. Y is equal to 3x to the 4th over 5 minus 2x to the 3rd power. All right, now this is quotient rule. You could do it by the power rule by bringing this up and making it to the negative. You can do that. You could also, well, I wouldn't do algebra because it's division, so I wouldn't do algebra. So the quotient rule says denominator times numerator prime minus the numerator times denominator prime over denominator squared, and we really don't care about the denominator as far as the answer goes unless something can cancel. So denominator 5 minus 2x to the 3rd power times numerator prime 3x to the 4th prime minus numerator times denominator prime 5 minus 2x to the 3rd power over denominator squared. Well, what is something squared times something to the 3rd power raised to the 2nd power? What is that? To the 6th power, Hubert. Is anybody still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, now I'm going to take the derivative and I'm going to let y'all finish that because that's nothing but algebra and all you got to do is focus on the numerator. Unless something can cancel with the denominator, then you continue it. So 5 minus 2x to the third power times 12x to the third. And I didn't put any baby steps there because kind of in a hurry. Minus, and I'm still making that red because it still is going to get you if you don't watch it. 3x to the fourth. And then the derivative of this using the chain rule is 5 minus 2x to the second power. And the derivative of negative 2x is negative 2. And now you can just do algebra. And the algebra that I would start with, I would distribute this 12x. Oh, shoot. Yuck. They may just stop you there. The reason I'm saying they may stop you there, this right here, what's 3 times 2 times, what's 3 times negative 2 times 3? Well, that's 9, that's 18, that negative and that negative. This turns out to be 12x cubed times 5 minus 2x quantity cubed plus, that's negative 2 times negative, that's a positive 2. 2 times 9 is what, 18? 18x to the fourth times 5 minus 2x squared over 5 minus 2x to the sixth. Can something be canceled? Yes. Okay, and I'm going to let y'all finish this one. Can this right here cancel this and this? Yes or no?
Which one?
Can your denominator cancel any of the numerators out? Yes, it can cancel this one out. And it can cancel this one out. I think. Yeah. We're going to stop it right there because that may be the answer they want, but we'll work with that Tuesday. Let's look at the last one. And then I'm going to shut it down. The last one is 35/16. The only reason I'm not finishing these is because y'all's time, my time. Y is equal to U to the 47th. Well, if you're going to plug that in, looks like to me they're plugging and chugging, but I'm not sure. Y is equal to U to the 47th power, and U is equal to 5x cubed minus 3x squared. It looks like to me that you're going to plug and chug. Y is equal to parentheses to the 47th power, and that's 5x minus 3x squared. That looks like chain rule, but I don't know exactly. Y prime is equal to 47 5x cubed minus 3x squared to the 46th power. The derivative of 5x cubed is 15x squared, and the derivative of 3x squared is 9x, or 6x. I'm just thinking, you could distribute this 47 with this, and they may want you to use the product rule again. Y prime is equal to 47 times 15x squared minus 6x. times 5x cubed minus 3x squared raised to the 46th power. And you can distribute this here and here. It's going to be a BA number. And you can take the derivative of these two terms. Somebody multiply 47 by 15 for me, please. What's 47 times 15?
705.
I'm sorry, what?
705.
705?
Yes.
And 47 times 6?
282.
And then multiply that. And this is the product rule. That's the product rule again. But I don't know if they want you to go that far, but that looks like what they're wanting you to do. All right. That's basically getting you started on those 1.7s. And that's all I want you to do is get started on them, because I'm expecting more questions Tuesday. So I'll shut her down there, and y'all have a good weekend and work on those homeworks, okay?
Thank you. You as well.
All right. See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.